What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today's going to be not a highlight video, but rather a poker training daily drills video, which is something I've done once or twice before, but it's kind of nice to mix in a little bit of study and a little bit of kind of drill content, study content on this channel. Something that I do multiple times a week using the Razer Edge paired app, and I wanted to make a video. I said, why not? Let's do it on video today. So let's get into these drills. Once again, this is the Raise Your Edge paired app. There's going to be a link in the description. Currently a Black Friday sale happening for the next 2 days after this video comes out. So if you guys want a piece of the Black Friday sale or you want to check out this app, the link will be in the description. But let's get into the video. So we are going to go down to daily quizzes here. And I think we're going to do one of every quiz. So for the daily drills section of this application, we're going to have raise first in, flatting and 3-betting, multi-way, pre-flop, post-flop out of position, and post-flop in position. So we're going to do one quiz each, and then we're going to finish with some ICM. And I think that should be enough content. I think one of each should be good. So let's start off with raise first in. So for the raise first in question, I like to not only answer the question, but I also like to guess what the line would be. So I'm going to think King 7 is a fold here if the options are shove or fold. And, that's a little bit too simple doing the raise first in. So I like to ask myself, what is the worst suited king? Like, where's the line, basically? What is the line here? And I would think probably King 9 suited could shove. Maybe King 9 suited mixes and it's King 10 suited. That's what I'm going to guess. So we go to the range and we see it is King 9 suited pure. So I think that's a little bit of a better way to do this quiz, because at least then it's not just super obvious every time if it's a raise or a fold. Oh boy. It's close. I remember a similar spot where 5-7 suited was a raise. 6-4 suited is a little bit lower cards. I'm going to raise. I think it's close. It is close. I mean, at least it is close. I knew. Yeah, so you actually can see here if we look at the range, 7-5 suited is a raise. 6-4 suited is mixing. So, I mean, well, I did get it wrong, and in-game, would it be the end of the world to raise this? Probably not. I'm glad I at least knew that some of these better kind of low-card suited hands can go for the open, but this one would be pretty close. And it's not a pure fold, so we get it wrong, but pretty reasonable. Queen 3 suited, I'd say mostly a limp, but maybe doing a little bit of raising. No, it's not doing any raising. It's actually a very interesting range here that we're playing. It's a very linear kind of raise strategy, just the good suited stuff, super deep. But yeah, a ton of limping, a lot more limping than I would think. I don't think you need to play like this at all in game, but in theory, that's a very interesting range to see. Ton of limping. Queen 10 suited, similar to the King 7 suited, I do think we're going to be shoving Queen 10. And I don't think we're shoving Queen 9. I think this is the bottom. And I would be wrong. It's also Queen 9. Yeah, we literally just looked at this chart, so I should have remembered that it was a straight line down, but I thought Queen 9 suited might be a little light here. But yeah, apparently you can shove Queen 9 suited too. Jack 9 suited, 10 9 suited, all the suited 9s here from middle position-ish. Jack 10 suited, we're going to be raising. What is the weakest Jack we would want to open here? I would say Jack 8 suited pure and Jack 7 suited maybe mixing is my guess. No, it's Jack 8 suited pure, but Jack 7 suited is just a fold, so it is Jack 8 suited. King 6 suited, gonna raise. I think the weakest king would be King 4 suited, maybe mixing. King 4 suited, nice. So you can see, you kind of remember the lines, right? Like King 6 suited, I think is pretty straightforward, but is King 4 suited? It just helps you remember your lines, which is really what is the benefit of doing quizzes like this, is it trains. So when you're multi-tabling, you're playing tournaments, it trains you to remember the lines so that you can play quickly and you can set up a baseline for yourself of, okay, I can play at least this wide, maybe wider, maybe sometimes tighter. Usually you don't want to go too much tighter than what this is going to suggest, because people are on average going to be under 3-betting, playing less aggressive. So I would think that a lot of the time you want to play at least the baseline and then maybe get even wider. Sometimes you might want to tighten up with ICM, with aggressive players, with stations, whatever, right? Like there's going to be reasons to tighten up as well. 6-4 suited, no way. I think Some 6-5 and then 6-7 are going to play here. 6-5 and some 6-7. Ace-9 offsuit, definitely. Maybe a little bit of Ace-8. This actually might be the bottom, though. Maybe a little bit of Ace-8 here. A little bit of Ace-8. Actually, most of Ace-8 is raising here, so. And the last question, Jack-6. We had a Jack-8 here. We learned that not even Jack-7 is playing, so it's going to be a fold. And the last question, Jack-6 offsuit. Might do a little bit of raising. More than limping, though. Doubt it. Yeah. So it does do some raising. Generally, when you see these like 30 to 40 blind stacks, you are going to see a lot of the hands like kind of Queen-7, King-8, King-7, Jack-6, Jack-7, offsuit, those kind of offsuit. Let's look at the range, actually. We don't need to guess. So if you look at the offsuit range here, you see a lot of mixing in these high card raise, like tons. Almost half the time, you know? Can they limp? Yes. Do they limp half the time? Yes. But ton of raising here, ton of aggression with the high cards. A lot of raising with the suited stuff for 40 blinds. Just not a ton of slow playing going on. Always raising your big pairs. Doing some limping with the offsuit big aces. But yeah, this kind of stack size, as opposed to, we saw the 90 big blind stack or whatever it was with the Queen-3. Just ton of limping. Like way more limping, not a lot of raising. And then ironically, we get shallower and we just do a lot more raise first in. All right, so we got 92%. The one that we got wrong was the 6-4 suited, which we got kind of sort of wrong. You can see a lot of people got 100%. They got that 6-4 suited right. So a little bit behind the 8 ball there, but let's move on to the next quiz. So the next category we're going to go to is the flatting and 3-betting quiz. So this is also going to be pre-flop, but it's going to be a different type of question. Pocket 10 is definitely going to be calling here against the small blind reshove. Probably for 30, I would say like pocket 5s or 6s would be the bottom. I'll say pocket 5s. Pocket 4s. In game, I feel like I'd fold 4s in game, but ace-king offsuit. We have a raise under the gun. We call, they squeeze. I mean, ace-king offsuit is a hand that loves to shove a lot. I feel like our range doesn't want to shove a lot. I don't know if our actual hand... I wonder if we do some calling here. I'm gonna maybe look like an idiot here, but I'm gonna call or shove. Okay, not an idiot. Not an idiot. Almost ran out of time, but we can see, yeah, like I said, we don't have a ton of hands that want to pile here. It's like not a ton that really benefits from that. So you see a lot of calling with suited stuff, a lot of pocket pairs. It's kind of a defense range, right? We're playing defense to some degree. We're out of position. We don't have a lot of nutted hands here. As you can see, we're just 3-betting pure with these big pairs, and we have a little bit of queens, yes, but yeah, I think honestly playing our range, just call here, made enough sense that I put ace-king in there as well, which is kind of the logic on how we got to this hand. But yeah, can do some shoving, can do some calling. Next question, ace-3 suited, call. We're not folding, so I think this would call more than 3-bet. Yeah, actually it doesn't do any 3-betting, but ace-5 suited does. But yeah, this is kind of a nice hand to look at because you're going to see yourself with these suited aces a lot. And it's good to kind of remember when to 3-bet, when not to. But you can see here, small blind against early position. It's just your big suited stuff. You want to play quite linear here. And, you know, play hands that can call a 4-bet or just have nice blockers or good playability. Just high equity hands is the 3-bet strategy here. Would it be the end of the world to go for a 3-bet with this sort of hand? No. No, it wouldn't, but it's just not a big part of the strategy here. Queen-9 suited. This is just a fold. Yeah, too weak. Too weak against early position. 10-5 offsuit. I'm folding. I'm folding. I mean, GTO always defends a little wider than I like to. But yes, 10-5 offsuit is too weak. 7-8 suited. Going to be very sticky with these suited hands. I used to be a lot tighter myself. But you can see verse 3-bet here in GTO, Chippy V. We're just basically being a complete station with all these suited hands. We're not making any tight folds except for the Queen-9 and the Queen-8. Those ones are kind of the ones that want to fold. But everything else is either calling, 4-betting, shoving. And then it's really the offsuit combos that we end up folding here. Ace-Jack offsuit. ace 10, king jack. Like those are the ones you don't want to be sticky with. This deep with the playable suited connectors doing a lot of calling. Ace 9 suited, going to call 3-bet. Usually the ace 8 and the ace 7 and the ace 6 are kind of the folds. You see it. You see more playability with the ace 5, ace 4. You see a lot of playability with ace 9 plus. Ace 7, ace 8, ace 6 are kind of the ones that out of position are more folds. And then the ace 3 and the ace deuce. Ace queen here versus 3-bet. I think just call. I don't think 4-betting does quite enough for us here. Folding is a bit tight against it with these positions, so should be a pretty good call. Or a little bit of 4-betting. Yeah, not much. You see 12%. Queen 10 offsuit, like we saw with the offsuit combos, just getting rid of it. Ace 8 suited. So we saw ace 8 suited want to fold a lot in that other sim. This is also very tight ranges. We're also out of position. For some reason, I'm skeptical that we're going to fold here. This might just be a call, but I'm going to... Why do I feel like it's going to be a call? I'm going to go for a fold, following the same principles, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, ace 8, ace 7, ace 6. Going to be folding. Ace 9 plus playing. A little bit more playability with the ace 5, ace 4, ace 3. The wheel aces, the big aces, the middling non-connected aces are kind of the ones you get rid of. So if there's something you could take away from this, it's, you know, if you kind of forget what aces you want to play, or you want to try to somewhat match these sort of solutions, that could be something that you take away from this. All right, that was a 100% score, so feeling good about that one. Only 3 people actually got 100%, or 4 people only got 100% there, so yeah, pretty good quiz. Let's get to the next one. All right, we are in the pre-flop multi-way section. Another great tournament poker spot to solve. Raise 10-8 suited, 3-bet and overcall. Do we want to play out of position against 2 players with 10-8 suited? I mean, the price is great. Yo, out of position against 2. Yeah, I mean, it's close. It's doing some folding. So here, I'm curious if like 10-8 suited calls a lot, but then a hand like Queen 10 suited might fold. You know, a stronger hand with hand value. Queen 10 suited is stronger than 10-8, but 10-8 might be a little less dominated. So I'm wondering if 10-8 suited is a call, but like Queen 10 or stuff like, I don't know, even like Jack 10 or Jack 9. Like, I wonder if those are more folds. Let's take a look. Okay, so sort of. So like, yeah, so you see even King 10 suited just for blocker reasons is folding, but is folding half the time, but Queen 10 suited and Jack 10 suited are calling. Ace 10 suited is folding a lot of the time due to blocker reasons, right? 10-8 suited here is calling more than Ace 10 suited. Just to do with the fact that you're multi-way, your opponents both have like strong ranges and dominating combos and hands. So this is, I would say, a pretty complicated range to remember. But I guess I'm happy I was kind of along the right lines of like, yeah, maybe 10-8 suited is a little bit more attractive than some of these other Broadway hands, but it seems all pretty close. I don't know. That's a tough spot, I think. Let's go to the next one. King Jack offsuit versus a squeeze. These offsuit combos versus squeezes are just pretty bad. You can see. Don't need to get sticky with these ones. Versus squeezes in almost any range, these offsuit combos are pretty bad. Sometimes late position, a little bit of ace jack might call or whatever, king queen, but happily folding there. 6-4 suited, too weak in the cutoff. Gonna blitz through a few of these. King jack offsuit, under the gun 1, too weak. Ace 10 suited. Probably does either. I think it's actually probably more of a 3-bet. Let's see. Oh, God. I think that's our first pure 0%er. Everything else we got wrong was at least a mix. That's too bad. Okay, nothing fancy here. Calling with the ace, queen, ace, jack, ace 10 suited. Squeezing the good stuff, squeezing the good pairs. Yeah. All right, we just screwed that up. I thought like putting pressure on like their offsuit hands, maybe folding out some ace jack, ace queen once in a while. Yeah, I actually thought more of our suited hands would squeeze here. More ace queen, more ace jack, more king queen. But yeah, just a call. So that's a pure wrong. Raise call squeeze here. Gonna be a fold. I would imagine we're calling with some ace 10, ace jack. We might be just shoving ace queen. Maybe calling ace-9 even? Let's see. Yeah, call ace-9, ace-10, shoving with some bigger ones. Ace-queen here. We raise under the gun. Under the gun, 2 calls. Big blind squeezes. Oh, this is, I think, call or fold. Should we go for a hero fold? For style points? It might be a fold. It might be a call. I'm going to... This is a risk of 0%er, but... Oh, come on. Come on. Like I said, these offsuit combos. You know how I said squeezing here with the ace-10 to maybe fold out some ace-queen? Well, this is kind of what I'm talking about. You can see here, when you're opening under the gun, another tight range here, big blind squeeze. In theory, you know, maybe not in game, but in theory, it's quite a tight squeezing range, and you just don't need to defend ace-queen offsuit. So you'd rather have some suited stuff. Ace-5 suited versus a raise, a call, and a call. We have to choose whether the 3-bet or fold. I'm going to go fold. 3 tight ranges. Maybe we just play linear. Yeah, let's see. Just linear. Nice. I think that's a good snipe. I mean, I would probably call here in game, or I would squeeze. I don't think I would fold. I think I would be like, oh yeah, we have the button. Yeah, I don't think I would fold here. I would call it, take position. But you can see it's reasonable in theory to just play your top range here and not get sticky on the button. Raise, call, squeeze, too weak of a suited combo. And again, just a little too weak against... What? There's no way we're calling here. Maybe a little bit of 3-betting, I guess. A lot of 3-betting. Wow. I was a little too quick on the draw there. I thought this... I mean, it is folding half the time, but I'm surprised to see this one get into a squeeze here. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. We got a pure 0 there with the ace-10 suited. And that was kind of an easy one as well. I'm a little disappointed about that. Okay. All right, we have 2 quizzes left. Now we go post-flop. Out of position post-flop to start. These ones are pretty fun. The action sequence is in the top left. So here, it means we raised, they called. Action on us. Check out of position. We probably do have some small betting here, but I don't think much. Yeah, so 70% check, 30% small bet, but you'll find a lot of these out of position spots late position. It's either a lot of checking or close to a range check quite frequently. So I always remember that. So the action here, raise, 3-bet call. They just go for the jam. Even with the king of spades, don't think we get the call here. Queen 5, we defend the big blind, faces c-bet. It's going to be a fold. So far, pretty easy stuff. Raise, button calls, check, bet, just a fold. Same spot. We can either raise small or call. I mean, I think it probably does both. I'm going to raise. Yeah. Gosh. I wonder... I was thinking, like, man, like, there's so many bad turns, even for queens here. Do we even want to raise always? You could see me kind of going like, eh. I think probably we raise with a spade. Let's take a look. Let's do a deeper dive into the combos here. All right, so you can see the combos with a spade are doing more raising, but not honestly a ton if we look closer. You can see here, we see a raise to 4.5 blinds, 30%. Here we see a raise to 4.5 blinds, 30%. So it's still calling mostly. Without a spade, it's calling almost pure. Very interesting. I mean, in game, is it going to be bad to raise this board? I don't think so, but it's interesting in theory to see how passively the queens are playing here in general. So, all right, we got that wrong. King deuce, what happened here? Okay, we see a raise pre, we called. They bet small, we check raised, and then they jammed. Okay. Took me longer to get through the action than it did to come up with the conclusion, but yeah, not calling off our bottom pair. Are we calling off any deuce X? Just deuce X. Pocket sevens versus the larger sizing here. Same board, out of position. Against that sizing, we're going to fold. Would we call with a spade? No, it looks pure fold. Yeah, out of position, shallow. Not getting a good price. Just folding. 10-9-5 flush draw. Now, I'm going to check only because I think in theory, this is a range check. It's a range check. Now, can this hand bet? I don't hate the idea of using this as a value bet. So we could bet small or big. If you want to bet big, you could target their smaller pocket pairs to get those hands to fold. That's not a terrible result. You can maybe pressure some 5x like ace 5 or 5-6 suited if they called that, right? Like, and then you also get called by queen jack, king queen, king jack. So we're kind of ace jack of diamonds. So we are value betting in a sense. Now the strategy here is range check. Does this hand need to check? Is it profitable to bet? Absolutely. But yeah, in theory, just checking our range out of position here. 6-5 suited, we raise under the gun, the button called. This does strike me as a decent bet here, actually. Oh, I don't know, though. Do we have big bets here? I'm going to go small. No, it's just a check. It's another... I mean, it's very attractive to me looking at 6-5 suited here to say, okay, we have backdoor hearts, we have backdoor straight draw. And if my opponent has 9-10 of diamonds here, I would love to get that to fold, right? So I have a strong range under the gun. I have a lot of these big aces. So do they. But yeah, we have nice backdoors. We get immediate folds from better hands. Jack 9 of diamonds, Jack 10 of diamonds, 7-8 of clubs, right? All these sort of hands. You just get that immediate fold. So it does a little bit of betting, but our overall range is relatively passive. And I guess this one is just not betting a ton. I don't know. I would probably consider betting in game, definitely. All right, 9-8 suited. We raise, they 3-bet, we call, they go small. Yeah, we're deep enough to call here at least. It's kind of an interesting bluff raise as well. Yeah, actually, not only is it interesting, but it is the preferred strategy by a little bit. 60% of the time, raising, 40% calling. You have nice backdoors. You can start to pressure hands like 10x, pocket jacks, queens, kings right away. You know, they're just like gutter balls like king jack. You know, it does some good things with the backdoors. And yeah, you're going to see the raises coming from 10-8, a little bit of 10-8, a little bit of 9-8, tiny bit of pocket sevens, maybe with a heart, probably. A little bit of weird 10x in there, but yeah, it's kind of our bluffs. Some nice 9x and 10x. Okay, tough quiz, 76%. Some close spots. Let's go to the last quiz. Post flop in position. Arguably, one of the most important aspects of tournament poker is playing post flop in position. You can make a lot of money playing correctly in position, getting the max from your value. So let's take a look. We raise, they call in the small blind. Some reason I feel like it's this. It's always risky to choose the big bet option. Yeah. All right, so I guess we're not big betting here with sevens. So the logic here I would use, like, we are seeing some big bets. It's coming from a lot of either really strong hands. You see the big bets coming from kings and aces and some good queen X. You're seeing some big bets, but even though we have a pair that needs a lot of protection and does get some value from 6x, 5x, and wants to fold out overcards, which was my logic, right? When I look at sevens here and I see queen 6-5, I'm thinking, okay, I can bet on the bigger side, fold out a lot of floats, which is beneficial for me. I don't necessarily want my opponent to float here with 9-10 of spades. When I look at sevens here, it's vulnerable against pretty much any overcard combo, backdoor, flush draws, whatever. So getting that immediate fold equity and or getting some immediate value, I would think that sevens would be put into this larger sizing. But there is some big betting on the board. It's just not coming from a ton of the pairs. A little bit of eights, a little bit of nines, a little bit of the best ones, aces and kings. And then a lot of these kind of bluffs with a 7, a couple of bluffs with an 8, a couple of bluffs with a 9, stuff that has some backdoors, double backdoors. So interesting spot. It's always risky choosing the big bet because a lot of times in tournament poker, it's check or small bet. I took the risk. It didn't pay off. Here, I am already disturbed. This shallow, no spade, fold or call. Yeah, okay. Not bad. Queen Jack, I think we are just calling here. I'm sort of thinking back to the Queen hand we had earlier in the video. This strikes me as a similar spot. We are in position this time, but I think if we had a club, a little bit more equity, we might raise, ironically. Let's take a look if that logic is true. Let's take a look at our Queen Jack offsuit and see where the raises are coming from. So you can see here, Queen Jack with a club is shoving, and it's doing some small raising. Although with the Queen of Clubs, it's 100% calling. So with the better club, it's always calling. With the Jack of Clubs, it's raising. So a little, I mean, it's complicated. You can remember that, but I guess, you know, if we are shoving, it does tend to be with the club in these sort of spots with our top pair. King, Queen here, under the gun checks. I think small bet is going to be our best option here. Or check. Yeah, mostly small betting, some checking. Pocket fives, we have 3-bet pre-flop. I'm going to go for a range bet. Yep. 8-6 suited. They go for a bet. It's a fold. Wow, raise 3-bet call. They lead this flop. That's so disrespectful. Got to fold though. Look how much folding we do. Wow, maybe it's not so bad to lead this spot for small. Look at all this folding we do. That's kind of crazy actually. If you're out of position in this spot, I don't know. Would people actually play like this? Would they fold their hearts combos? If they had Queen 10 of hearts here and you led into them in a 3-bet pot, would they not click it back? Would they not float? I feel like they have a little bit less fold equity than this is showing. Even if, let's say if I was playing this spot, I would not fold any of these heart combos. I would float or try to find a way to punish them for going for this weird lead, right? Because they called the 3-bet out of position. They shouldn't have a ton of like ace king, ace queen even. I don't know. This just strikes me as such a weird strategy. So king queen here. MP raises. We go for the call. Check. Check. Strikes me as decent. Bet doesn't seem bad either. Yeah, okay. It's both, but it is a little bit more of a bet. And maybe king jack. Yeah. So king queen is more of a bet. King jack is almost a pure check here. What about queen jack? Queen jack does both. So the strongest gutter does some more betting. The weaker gutter just checks back, and then the open ender does a mix of both. You do see that a lot. You see like on a 10-9-5, you do tend to see king queen play quite aggressively, and then king jack plays tighter. So that's a common theme here. We are facing a raise. We had this spot with the queen jack of diamonds. Shove looks great. I hope it's shove. It is a lot of shove and some call, but yeah, shove looks really good. King queen here, facing big bet. Even with the heart, I think we have to fold here. Under the gun, tight range, sizing up. Maybe with the king of hearts call. Tricky spot. I'm gonna fold. Painful. Painful. This has been like the most painful quiz. Dang it. If you have a heart, you have to call. That's what it's showing me here. Without the heart, fold. Doing actually a little bit of calling. With the heart, call. Fold without the heart. Fold without the heart. Call with the heart. So, yeah, I thought it was kind of borderline. And I mean, it is. It's not printing, but yeah. Tough quiz. All right, we are on our last question of the video. 3-bet pot. Small bet or check? No. Small bet or big bet? And there's a tiny bit of big betting going on, but you know, we got it right. Mostly small bet. I feel like with these stacks, like if we were a lot deeper, I feel like I would expect maybe some hands to really want to size up. I didn't think this deep we would want to see a lot of that, but yeah, to be fair, it's only 12 blinds into 16. Quarter pot's quite small, so not too crazy to assume a little bit of bigger betting, but that's going to do it. 72. So the post flop really is what got us today. We had, I think, a 76 out of position, 72 in position. Those ones can always be trickier. But yeah, I think overall a very good warm-up session. I'm about to play a poker session, so I'm feeling super warmed up. I'm glad we went through that. So those come out one a day, every day, in each of those categories in this paired app, as well as there is an ICM tier where you can look at ICM questions, which involve payouts, deep runs, money bubbles, and you can practice in the same way. So So yeah, that was a really good study session, I think. Poker brain is activated, and that's really the goal with this stuff for me is like, yeah, I'm going to learn some concepts. I'm going to learn some GTO concepts, but it does get my poker brain activated in a really nice way before I play sessions or after or whatever. So yeah, hope you guys gained something from that. Again, there is a Black Friday sale going on for the next 2 days, and the link for this application will be down below, but I hope you guys enjoyed it regardless. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back to highlight videos very soon. See you guys later.